G'day fellas, and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the north side of the map, playing in the colour green as the Delhi Sultanate, it's the Mister. And on the south side of the map, playing in the colour purple as the Holy Roman Empire, it's Wham 01. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lipany. We're here watching two gentlemen battle it out on the ladder. Two of the world's best. Obviously, if you paid attention to the Red Bull Wall, you would know that both of these guys turned up. One of them, Wham 01, didn't do so well. Didn't do the best. The other guy, however, Mister, he did very well, finishing off in the grand final. Unfortunately not winning, but hey, second place ain't bad, is it, fellas? No, it is not at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got out today, because for anybody who doesn't know, Mister is an absolute tactical, strategical mastermind. Just an absolute genius when it comes to thinking out ways to play the game for certain matchups. So I don't know exactly what he's going to be pulling out here, because traditionally the Holy Roman Empire do counter the Delhi Sultanate quite well. So he's in a matchup here that's probably not the best. So he's going to need to start pulling out those kind of the strategies that you normally wouldn't expect. You know, normally you'd expect in a matchup like, well, not in a matchup like this, but rather normally you'd expect to see the Delhi go to something focused around the sacred sites. But you are going to have a bit of a low tempo if you do that. So you take the sacred sites, you age up. You can probably look to deny relics as well, but then the likelihood that a prelate gets 1 or 2 or 3 relics in is pretty high, and they're always going to be able to push back with knights, men-at-arms. It's difficult for you to deal with, and what happens if they go for Burgrave? Then your miseries really start to compound. So I'm curious to see exactly what direction he goes. When we compare that to Wham, I suspect he's probably just going to be looking for a fast castle. I don't think we're going to see any sort of 2TC shenanigans from him. The big thing is, obviously, he wants to deny the sacred sites from his enemy, but quite honestly, he can let the Delhi player get the sacred sites as long as they just don't hold them for 10 minutes. As long as he picks up the relics, that's going to be the big thing. Now, when it comes to this game or this type of matchup, I think it's quite interesting because we have two civilizations that have actually got access to picking up the relics before they actually reach the castle age. Now, I shouldn't say that. Instead, they can prepare a large amount before reaching the castle age. So, obviously, with the prelates through the Holy Roman Empire, you can move out onto the map with the prelate, and as soon as you age up, right-click that relic, and it's going to pick up straight away. So, you don't have to make the monastery. You don't have to train the priest. You don't have to send him out there. He's already... All of those 3 steps are done. Wipe them off the board. We just pick up the relic. We bring it back home. And by the same token, Delhi can also do the same with their scholars, obviously. Both civs have got their respective religious units available for them in the first age. But we do see now the landmarks coming through. It's going to be the Dome of the Faith for the Mister. On the south side of the map, we do have the Archon Chapel going up. Not the fastest Archon Chapel I've ever seen. It's pretty early, like, with regard to when it's being made, but it's only got 4 villages on it. Sometimes, I remember watching a Don Hardy game, and I think he had, like, 12 villagers making his Archon Chapel. I'm like, Don, how do you even have 12 villagers this early into the game to make an Archon Chapel? It was a little bit crazy, but it kind of makes sense, like, the reasoning behind it, right? Because the prelate can only do so much boosting. You can't boost these villagers down here, so, I mean, if you do the calculations, 12 villagers is probably overkill, Don. Tone that back a little bit. Double digits, maybe a bit too much. But look, you're the math guy. I'm the casting guy. I'll let you do the math. I'll do the casting, and I'll just trust you. You're the pro player in it all. But speaking of pro players, upgrades coming through for our pro in the north, the Mister. Looking for that mill opening with the early wheelbarrow. We'll be jumping onto survival techniques as another option for him. But then at the same time, we do see Piety coming through. One of the great things about the mosque opening that he looked for here, sometimes we do see players delay the mosque. Mister didn't do that here. He went for the early mosque, and subsequently, he's going to be able to fit in Piety. Sometimes you can't actually fit in Piety because you want to get Sanctity as soon as you can. But Age Up's now coming through. Wham! Up to the second Age. Dropping down a barracks during the transition period. He's going to be working towards, I suspect, maybe a men-at-arms or 2. Maybe just looking to put a bit of pressure onto his enemy. And this does get scattered out by his opponent. And I guess the question is, like, what do you do? We already know the answer. It's got to be a stable, right? Like, surely it's going to be a stable coming in from the Delhi side of things. So Delhi love to open stable whenever you go for the Dome of the Faith. That's kind of like your game plan, right? If you're going for cavalry in the second age, you want to be going Dome of the Faith. If you're going for infantry, then Tower of Victory is always going to be really good for you. But we start to see upgrades coming in. Stable also getting dropped down very far forward, this stable, towards the front of the base. So dangerous position. Let's just say that much right there for the Mister. Does a little bit of spotting out on what's happening, but we'll note that there's not a lot of villagers here on the gold, so a super fast castle not on the cards at the moment for Wham. Compare that over to the Mister, though. 4 vills on gold. That's a little bit more than what you would normally have. I think normally the number's probably 3 So that could be a bit of an indication, but we do see upgrades starting to come through for him. But he is missing a couple of notable absences. We don't have specialized pick coming through. We do have professional scouts actually coming through as the first tech. So opting for like this professional scouts technology sort of strategy, I guess, and then Wham actually go for a double barracks opening. Take a look at this. Something we don't always see is going to be the double barracks opening coming out from Wham on the south side. Especially in this matchup against the Delhi. Normally you want to see the Holy Roman Empire just rushing up to the castle edge as quickly as they can, but the first of the horsemen is coming out, so it's maneuverability here up against tenacity, the strength of the Holy Roman Empire men at arms going up against that horseman. You can see in the one-on-one, you know, who wins? The answer is very clearly it's going to be the horseman because he's got the mobility. So even if he loses the battle here against the men at arms, he can always just run back to the safety of his scholars and receive that repairing. And that's always going to make the defensive nature of the Delhi here really, really strong. Just checking back over on the south side, we can see that Wham's actually adding in farms, a very early farm transition here as well for Wham. So normally we do see civilizations avoid transitioning to farms too early. The English probably the only exception, but increasingly we have seen the Holy Roman Empire starting to take more and more farms early on, and this is actually a pretty smart move. The reason why I think this is a smart move is because you're converting that initial wood that you've got into food, and that's infinite, right? That's perpetual. That lasts forever. It's basically a berry bush. This villager is just working on a berry bush forever, and it's actually, I think, if I remember correctly, it's slightly faster gather rate as well than the berry bush. So these villagers are all on berries, but they're not really on berries. So I do like that. And I think if there's a civilization that can do it, it's going to be the Holy Roman Empire. I think another good candidate for it is the Chinese. I think their farm transition's pretty decent. Just because you can supervise the lumber camp, so you get that extra 20% wood. And then you can use the granary to buff you up as well. But we do see now on the south side, men-at-arms defending, men-at-arms attacking. And Mr. holding on for the moment. No one really looking to age up at this point. We crossed the 7-minute mark. And players just chilling out in the feudal age. Where's that sanctity? Where's that sanctity? Where's that sanctity? There it is. 1 second to go. And you'd love to have scholars in position, and indeed he does. The first scholar going to be over here, but with one scholar, that makes it very easy to shut down from your enemy's perspective. And look at this. Double men-at-arms moving out over towards this position. Will they make it in time? That's going to be the question. Villagers being forced back, and at the same time a counterattack coming in on the south side. But the consequence of only going for the one sacred site is that your enemy is going to be spread a little bit more thickly on the place that you want to be holding. But it looks like the sacred site's actually going to be held. The consequence of not going cavalry here, so you're not going to have that mobility. Sure, you've got the strength, you've got the tenacity, and now he's just going to be able to chill out for a moment. Sacred site is going to be neutralized, but remember, you can always just come back onto it, do a little bit of a ring around the rosy. A lot of melee units out here. He's going to try his best to pick off a couple of horsemen, but no bueno coming through at all for Wham. He's not going to have any luck today. Look at that beautiful micro coming out from both of these guys, but he's got to be careful with that horseman. 5 health on that bad boy. Get him some heals. What are you doing right there, mister? There we go. Sacred site neutralized at the moment, or at least being neutralized. Mister doing a decent job of holding on for dear life, and we can see the age up is indeed coming through at the moment for the mister. So looking to try and get up a quick castle age here. Now, one thing to note, and we talked about this a bit earlier, is he's going to be thinking a bit outside the box. Hold on a minute. We'll talk more about the box before or after we talk about this fight right here. He pulls back the horseman, doing a decent job, but now spearmen are out. Just even 2 spearmen is going to be more than enough to avoid any kind of fights. Mister is not going to want to take any fights here at all. Now, the main point, or the big thing I want to talk about is 10 villagers now move out over to gold, is that we could have a potential relic snipe on our hands. How do you deal with this Holy Roman Empire player who started off with men-at-arms? He's done well to deny your sacred sites, but now you want to deny him what you have been denied. He's denied your sacred sites, now you deny him the relics. Your win condition was denied, now you deny him his. So it's that kind of big brain play that Horseman still coming back, and he's doing a smart move here, right? Like, he's not looking to pick off the enemy units, but rather just to distract Wham, and we do now see the compound of the defender coming down in the north of the base for the Mister, but I want to ride on board with the Mister at the moment. Don't look at the army. Don't focus on that. Focus on the minimap. You begin to see prelates moving out, rather scholars moving out. He's actually going to the sacred sites at the moment. I would have expected his focus would be a bit more onto those relics. If he can look to snipe away these relics from his opponent, he's going to be in a great spot. But obviously, the number of men-at-arms he's dealing with at the moment, 14 men-at-arms now in the base, he's going to have some trouble here. So might need to start thinking about adding in an archery range or 2. That's exactly what he's got coming up right now. So He wants to avoid, and by taking these sacred sites, he kind of forces his enemy like, hey, come back down here. But we can see that the landmark is going to be stalled out for the moment. Men-at-Arms realizing that the age-up's coming through. He's trying his best to tap away at that age-up, and look at the Men-at-Arms playing Ring Around the Rosie. Picks up a couple Men-at-Arms on the backside. Beautiful micro coming in for both of these players, and the Regnitz Cathedral going to be going down on the other side of the map. Wham looking to age-up. 10 villagers tapping away at it, but in the meantime, no villagers working towards this age-up for Mr. in the north. The one big thing still for me is these relics. He needs to get these scholars out onto the map, looking to steal these relics, snipe them away, stop that Holy Roman Empire from ever getting their hands on those relics. You might lose this battle here, but it's about winning that war, isn't it? But still holding on for dear life. The scholars in the base, healing infinitely. Look at the heals just coming through non-stop. You can't deal with the heal right there. And the age up comes through. Regnit's going to be shortly through behind this. And where are the scholars? Or rather, where are the prelates? Let's take a look from Wham's perspective. Where does he have units on the map, mini-map right now? Not a lot, honestly, not a lot. How many prelates are we talking right now? He's got 5 prelates out. That's a huge amount of prelates. What is he doing with 5 prelates? That's massive. Is he camping up relics? Why can't I see these prelates? Am I looking? Oh, that's Delhi. Delhi. Oh, he's only got 2 prelates. Oh, my lord, I was looking at the wrong player. 1 prelate. Immediately going to come down towards the safe relic, which is pretty much considered the gimme. Now, where does our Delhi player go from here? Barcode looking for a potential snipe. Moves out to all the sacred sites, neutralizing 2 of them. The first one is still intact. We see now at the moment, look at this. We've got some relic snipes coming in. He wants them. He's got them. Looks like it's going to be down to the wire, but Wham going to be able to take it out. And with that, the scholar a little bit too slow for his own good. Do we see a potential snipe come in? Are there any units looking to potentially take this one out? We hear more relics getting picked up around the map. It's going to be this one. It's going to be that one. There's 3 out of 5 gone already, 2 of which have gone to Wham, so already a really good start for him. Second relic now going over to the Mister, and our final relic remains. It's going to be over on the east side of the map. So Delhi Scholar moving out for the moment. So it looks like it's going to be 2 sniped away by Wham. He's going to be happy with that. 2 out of 5 ain't bad considering how late you were on the age up compared to your enemy. And I think from Mister's perspective, he's going to be a bit disappointed that he didn't deny 4 relics. No way! Oh, what was he doing? Oh, he was minding his own business, but his business should have been the relic. Oh, it was terrible. This scholar was just... What was he doing? Mister falling apart at the finish line right there, but fortunately, there are cavalry units on the way. But speaking of cavalry, we've got knights out right now. He comes in, big shot right there. Takes out one of the horsemen. Let's see if he's able to find this second prelate who's also out here. It looks like it might even be a 3 relic snipe here. Now, he can just wallow low and just deny this, yeah. There's no way that these horsemen actually kill this. He's going to need to delete them. They're not going to get out. They don't get out. It's a Wallalow. Wham loses, or rather, Wham takes units from the Mister. And now we do see the Lancers beginning to make their way onto the field. The numbers really begin to sway after that one. An exchange of 6 units, because you've lost 3 and you've given your enemy 3. It's a big difference, and Scholar just out here on the minimap, or on the map. Just trying to do as a Scholar does. But things going from bad to worse here for our Delhi player in the north. But now he's going to have to look to focus on getting out big unit numbers here. This is his win condition, right? So often when we look at these games, we think about, what's the win condition for these players? And for the Delhi Sultanate, his win condition here is going to be castle drops. He wants to get big keeps down in the enemy base. And ideally not dying here to these Lancers, because these Lancers are doing damage. But his crossbow micro's been pretty on point. Gets off a nice little volley right there. Only a single spearman remains. And he does manage to hold on. The food's going to be okay. Sacred Site over on the east side gets captured up by Wham. And now Mister going to start looking to push out. The military advantage is swayed in favor of the Mister. Sacred Site number 1. Taken by Wham. Sacred Site number 2 was looking to be taken, but not going to be successful for the moment. And now Mister needs to head back to the drawing board. Where does he go from here? What's his unit composition that he's going to go for? I think the best thing he can do for at this point is something like crossbows, lancer. I guess men-at-arms probably quite decent as well. But the big thing here is going to be keep drops, right? The sooner you get that keep drop in, the better your position's going to be. As long as you've got your sacred sites behind it and you've got enough oomph with your unit production. I like how I use the word oomph, or rather the term I don't even know what it is. The onomatopoeia oomph, because that is an onomatopoeia, right? The term oomph, because that's what we're describing. We're describing oomph. You need oomph here with your unit production. I mean, we just want to see constant trickles of units across the map. He's got lots of vills on food. In fact, you can see right now, he's still got a bit of a vill lead. Four villages, or 4 economic units, 3 economic units at the moment. But keep in mind that Ark and Chapel just going to be doing God's work down there. You get it? Ark and Chapel? Get it? God's work? See, look at that. Your Drongo's evolving, guys. He's getting better at this casting thing. All right, well, the unit numbers continuing to improve for our Delhi player. Where does he go from here? Do we see him taking stone yet? No stone yet. Let's take a look at the income per minute, get a bit of an idea of where these relics, where these sacred sites are splitting at the moment. That sacred site is captured. But bad news for the units that are looking to contest it are that crossbows are going to be pretty effective against them. It looks like the knight gets out with, you hate seeing that, a knight getting out with just a little bit over 10% of its health, and that's going to mean so much danger for these villagers. Because they can look to try and fight against it, but they only do 1 damage apiece. So you can try and surround it, but even then, he's gonna, yeah, he pulls all of them. Now he just runs away, and then he comes back in a few seconds later. No, not anything but the wolf. Anything but the wolf. No, don't do it to him, Warwick. Comes back in. Oh, look at the damage. This is, never mind. It's not relevant. It's not relevant, but you know what is relevant? This knight coming back in, he's looking for it. Crossbows, a couple of crossbows on the front. Nice big charge. Gets it off. Doesn't want to take too much damage here from the villagers, but look at the idle time. It's all about that idle time coming through. The consequence of just having this knight get through. 2 more crossbow bolts would have done it. I'm almost tempted to say, just move a couple crossbows back over here. That's exactly what he does. 2 crossbows moving out on attack move over towards these mills. Looking to defend that position, but speaking of raids, look at this. More crossbows up towards the north, and he's starting to take stone. This also gets scattered out by Wham. So Wham's got to start making more difficult decisions. Does he look to play castle, or does he really even want to consider going into that Imperial Age? If you know your enemy's prepping for keep drops, maybe it could be dangerous going up without a solid unit base. But at the same time, maybe going up to Imperial gives you that extra additional flexibility to go for the bombard, and the bombard enables you to grind down those keeps a lot faster than something like the trebuchet. How many? I don't even know what the numbers are, but I think it's something like you probably need 3 trebuchets to do the same damage per second as you would a bombard. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? Because that's 3 times the pop, that's 3 times, well, it's not 3 times the resources, but it's similar numbers to the 3 times the resources. I don't even know how much, 500, 250 for the trebuchet, and 400, 600. So you're looking at, what would it be? Like 2250 versus 1,000 resources. So basically double the resources, triple the population, and just, you know, half the fun. Bombards are a lot more fun. They make a lot bigger noises. But we can see the consequence of going for that age up now. Because Wham is definitely intent on going to the Imperial Age. He's got a big food economy back here. Does he have his upgrades through? I feel like he doesn't have his upgrades through. In fact, where is his mill? In fact, okay, I was going to say, he doesn't have wheelbarrow. He's got horticulture, though. So I'll accept horticulture, but no wheelbarrow, no fertilization. And with this many mills underneath your town, underneath your Ark and Chapel, you know, we're talking about a lot. How many we got right here? Let's see if we can count these. 23. So pretty decent amount of farms there. You'd want to be making sure you get those upgrades. But now the age up's coming through, and we can see that it's matching up here almost perfectly with the timing coming out from the Mister. He's got a huge force, 50 military up against 29 military of his enemy. Sacred site in the north. Look at the waypoints here. Just when you thought the waypoint, just when you thought waypoints were useless in 2022, like some people did, we see valid reasoning or valid usage there for the waypoint. So good indication of exactly what his plans were. Swabia now coming up on the backside. Beautiful landmark positioning as well. Can I just remark on Wham's landmark positioning? This is where you want to be putting your landmarks, behind your base. You don't put your regnants in the front. You don't put your Swabia in the front. It's going to get killed. It's only a matter of time before a keep drop happens. And there's the keep coming down now. Mister looking to set up shop out the front. And expect to see that siege workshop coming through shortly. Also expect to see a couple of scholars get pulled out here just so that they can garrison inside of the siege workshop to get that double production out. But expect to start seeing Wham even moving into a bombard shortly. The problem is, if he goes for a bombard, he's going to be exposing himself, right? Because he's got a much smaller military than his enemy. In fact, less than half the military of his opponent. Now the age up comes through, so he's going to look to start pushing the issue. Food economy going to get stalled out here for Wham. A lot of units back behind behind the lines. And now the sacred site has been neutralized. This could mean real danger, because now we could have a sacred site ticking. The mosque comes forward as well. I'm assuming he wants to get boiling oil. Yeah, so going for boiling oil here. And now Wham's going to need to formulate a response to this. So what does a response look like? I think a mangonel would actually go quite a long way here. Let's see if that's what he's going to be doing. At the moment, it doesn't look like it. Wham just holding on for the moment. A mangonel would save him a lot, though, because the crossbows deal with the men-at-arms. The mangonel forces back the crossbow, and then you can look to get that bombard out. But the problem that you're going to have is your enemy's thinking the same thing. We see a mangonel now coming out for Mr. in the north. How does Wham hold this position? Does he maybe even look to get a keep himself? He's only got 81 stone in the bank. That's not going to be an option for him. Villagers getting picked off once again, but keep in mind he's got the Ark and Chapel pumping out villagers, quite literally printing them out. One villager every 6 seconds. Looks like a couple of hand cannoneers coming in. Remember, the hand cannoneer actually trades pretty efficiently. Or rather, the crossbowman trades pretty efficiently with the hand cannoneer. Hand cannoneer obviously does very well against the men-at-arms, just because it's got so much armor, but we see the second keep coming down. Not a whole lot of villagers here, though. Only a handful looking to build this keep, so this could be quite easily denied. Let's check in with that siege workshop. It's going to be a culverin coming out for Wham, so going with a safe bet here. Just looking for the early culverin in, and now the keep continues to go up. Battering, or rather, mangonel going to be coming through here. Looking, looming. Mangonel, don't do it from the top rope. He wants it. And we hear the cannon emplacement firing over from the west side of the base. You got to be so careful to be fighting around this cannon emplacement. Does a lot of damage. Huge damage. And keep in mind, mangonel shot. Looks like it's just going to be on the farms. That cannon emplacement does AoE. So we want to avoid fighting there. And a second mangonel going to come in. Looks like the cannon emplacement should be able to clean it up. Crossbow's tempted to move forward, but the culverin does come out. Should be looking to get that one-shot in. Actually, I don't know whether it's going to be a one-shot. Yeah, it should be a one-shot. He's got Vils here to repair, but it's not going to matter. Culverin takes out the first mangonel. Very well played. But he's biding his time, and you can see right now, he is biding his time so much. He's just going to sit here, just got to wait. He might lose the town centers, might lose the Ark, and he's definitely lost a lot of farms underneath here, but he continues focusing, continues moving forward. We see this second keep still working its magic, but just a lack of trebuchets right now. We need to start seeing some trebuchets coming out from Wham, or rather from Mr. He needs to start taking out these buildings, but even if you do, then you've got to deal with emergency repairs. Oh, this is such a tough spot right here for the Mr. He's got the army advantage, but he doesn't have the siege advantage anymore. That title goes over to his opponent, and we do see that we've got Springles now coming out from the Mr. But the problem with going for Springles here is you're going to be down on range. You've got 10 range up against the Culverin, which has got 12 range as a base. Culverin incredibly strong. Sacred Site number 3 still yet to be taken. A whole bunch of knights still just chilling up here. He doesn't want that Sacred Site time to ever restart. Now, Culverin takes off the first shot once again, managing to take out another mangonel. 2 mangonels down. Not a whole lot of damage done. I mean, he's taken out farms. That is definitely a huge bonus to what he's done here. But is it going to be enough? Wham slowly building back up. Swabia printing out villages still. 17 food a pop. 6 seconds for each one, and the bombard now out. Should be able to stop this forward push, but we do see the Springles moving in over on the east side. He could be looking to try and snipe out this bombard. We're right on board with the line of sight from Wham. What does Wham see? Wham sees nothing about these Springles. He's got no clue that they're there. Still no clue. Still no clue. Finally spots them now, but is it going to be too late? The Springles looking to unpack. Going to be able to take out the bombard, but no, the Culverin saves the bombard just in time. Springles trying to find a snipe. No villagers getting pulled to repair at the moment. Culverin going to get taken out by the Springles, and the push coming through. Mangonel shot onto the back line. Hits plenty of the crossbows. The men-at-arms continue to push up. Second Mangonel going to unpack. Get off my screen. Sacred Site neutralization. I don't need to know about you right now. Springles firing off on the backside. Hits the Mangonel. Bombard still alive. That's the money maker. That's the one you need to keep alive, and falls back to the cannon emplacements, which are going to be dealing that area of effect damage. But now the sacred victory is approaching. The walls are coming up, and Mr. is looking to put the nail in the coffin. But where is that nail? Where is his hammer? Because at the moment, sure, there's a coffin. Wham's inside it. But at the moment, he is shaking, and he doesn't not want to be nailed in at all. Over on that east side, we see villagers coming in. It looks like Knight's actually going to be able to pick up some decent villager kills here. We can see at the moment the worker kills for him only on 7. That's going to continue to rise, though, as those villagers do go down. Mangonel's pushing forward. Still, we hear the cannon emplacements firing off towards the unit, and the mass is starting to build here. For Wham, the defense coming through right now. I'm almost tempted to call him an ancient so that we can reference Dota. But I'm not going to, because Wham is a young fella. He's a young fella with a hell of a bright future. Future so bright, you gotta wear sunglasses to see it. Still posturing, still looking for an angle through. Mr. knows how important this timing is to make. and he's just pumping out units non-stop. I'd be surprised if he's even making villagers behind this. Never mind. He's making villagers. He's not that all in. He's not that all in. But still, we don't see any trebuchets coming out from him. Interesting position from him not to be going into trebuchets. Oh, I do apologize. Our first trebuchet is now out and finally starting to siege down the position of his enemy. Mangonel numbers remaining pretty decent here. Springled numbers in particular, up to 6 Springleds. He's going to be able to fire off on that Mangonel. Takes it out. Springleds continuing to move forward. Culverin going to be in a bit of trouble here. He's moving underneath the cannon emplacement. A little bit dangerous if I do say so myself. Kind of a little bit crazy. He fires off into the pack. Let's see if he hits any decent shots here. Cannon emplacement. Cannon emplacement. Cannon emplacement. He only hits one. It wasn't that good, but it was a little bit of a... I'm curious why you went for that angle. I felt like you didn't need to go for that. More knights coming in over on that west side. Up to 23 worker kills now for Mr. Only 20 worker kills for Wham as well. So both of these guys taking out villagers non-stop, but we do see Wham is starting to pull ahead. That Swabia finally paying off. He aged up, what was it, 6, 7, 8 minutes ago, and it's finally starting to pay off. He's just pumping out villagers non-stop. Second trebuchet finally out here. Emergency repairs coming through on the main town center. If he loses that, he might be in dire straits. Still got emergency repairs being propagated here by the Swabia. So everything is still going to be fine, even if he loses that second town center. But now Spearman looking to come through and secure up this sacred site. He's actually going for a gate on top of the wall that's being denied. And with that, I'm curious if that's actually going to heal up the wall. No, it doesn't. But the Spearman, oh, they might be in a little bit of trouble. Trouble in paradise right now as the sacred site is being threatened. But speaking of threatening down here on the south side, we do see that the keep has gone down in a beautiful game coming out from both of these players here. High octane, high action, and Mr. definitely recognizing that now is the time to go. He's got the sacred site ticking, but he's got multiple victory conditions here potentially. Culverin coming in, beautiful little snipe, lovely position here from Wham, but he's got to fall back. You can see the greased axles coming out from the Springalds, but Springalds lose sight, and all of a sudden they stop chasing, and then the Culverin turns around. Beautiful micro coming in. Wham's Culverin is absolutely chef's kiss. Look at that, all the cavalry's gone down, and the only thing left to siege down the palisade gate are hand cannoneers and crossbows, and I'll tell you a little thing about that combination. Not particularly effective against buildings. Not at all. Trebuchets continuing to work their magic here on the town center. We can see it was on fire, but instead just going to start to focus down the Archon Chapel on the backside. Not really a whole lot of use coming out for it, but it's going to make a lot more sense than focusing down the emergency repaired town center. Culverin coming up for another snipe shot. Beautiful. I'm loving these 360 no scopes that are coming out from the Culverin. You know why they call it? You know why they call it an Xbox 360? Because you do a 360 and you walk away. I'm triggering people. I'm apologizing. I'm sorry, guys. That's intentionally me memeing right there. Beautiful micro coming in. But no, it's not beautiful micro. He does all 3 Culverins targeting down a single single Culverin. Sorry, a single Springled right there. Back on the other side of the map, though. Keep going to be coming down on the sacred side. So remember, Mr. is now kind of transitioning away. He realizes, well, I'm not going to be able to push you on land. I can't do it anymore. Or rather, I'm not going to be able to push you in your base. But maybe I can still hold on to this sacred site, potentially. Looks for keeps back on this sacred site here to potentially challenge this. Now the mass is really starting to build for Wham. Up to 42 military pop. Culverin still getting off these beautiful shots. You can see how powerful Culverin are. But remember, any Civ can do this as long as you've got that roller shutter triggers upgrade. That's also going to be carrying you in the Imperial Age. Any Civ can do that. You don't need to have access to the Culverin. Just kind of think of the Culverin as like it comes out of the box and it's fully upgraded. You know, it's like it's your top of the line model. Whereas like your Springled kind of, you know, it doesn't have the full powerful engine. You need to get the turbocharger in this one, and by turbocharger I mean the greased axles. You need to get the body kit. That's the roller shutter triggers. That's the way that you've got to play, or that's the way that you've got to think about it with the Holy Roman Empire Culverin versus the Delhi Springled. And now we see a keep over on the west side of the map coming up, looking to secure down gold. So whether he's going to use this to potentially springboard his attack onto this sacred side on the western side, or whether he's just using it to secure his income of gold. He's got no real access to gold anywhere else. No chance of taking it over on the east side at all. Music is tense. The game is tense, and the sacred victory is approaching. 4 minutes to go. And it all came down. Remember, it all came down to these knights that were chilling out over on the sacred side. How long were they there for? Wham was getting pushed for so long. Literally 5, 6, 7 minutes getting pushed in his base with a keep. And he just kept the knights on the sacred site because he knew if that sacred site gets captured, that it reduces the length of time he's got to respond to that sacred victory. And now we're 3.5 minutes away from that sacred victory, and Wham is so thankful that he left those knights on that sacred site. It all came down to that. Because now he's got that extra time. Now we can actually deal and formulate a response, and we can see how much it is shifting, how the balance is changing away. The emergency repairs has been absolutely clutch here for Wham. And now Mr. realizes I've got to formulate a different approach. Now I'd love to see him delete this wall and just add in a nice little stone wall over on this side, but you can see just how quickly Wham is moving towards it. He doesn't want to allow anything like that to potentially happen. A couple crossbows coming out here, starting to siege this down. He's got a mangonel on the backside. Remember, the mangonel should be safe from any culverin fire because of this stone wall. Culverin fire will be able to go through the palisade, but it will not be able to go through the stone wall. The culverins are moving up around slowly. Mangonel shot comes in. Let's see if he's able to come through and finish off this stone wall. This is what he really needs, because the siege at the moment, very minimal coming out from Wham. This is his only real way through. And it looks like, oh, there's a keep coming in from the top side. Look at this. No one expected a keep on the top side. We've got to enter into the cinematic mode right now. There's no way we're watching this without a cinematic mode. I don't know what our timers are, but we'll have to listen out for the bells. We'll ride on board with Wham just so that we've got an indication. But look at these cute little walls coming in on the top side. Keep going to come down here. And now a response is going to be needed here for Mister. Firing off over the walls. The mangonel does its job, but the springald's firing through the palisade walls. The consequence of not having that stone wall up is that they can go straight through, and they do. They wipe out all the siege. Only 2 springalds now remain, which are absolutely useless against that infantry mass. But we do see another mangonel coming in, rolling in slowly. Springald's moving up. And we hear right now, what's that going to be? Let's double check. That's going to be 2 minutes until sacred victory. 2 dings. That means 2 minutes, baby. And now it all comes down to the wire. Springalds are absolutely dead. Mangonel fires off on the front line. Big shot, but unfortunately the Mangonel goes down. The numbers here not looking the best for the Mister. He's going to try and hold the sacred site. Keeper's still here, firing away, rallying units from the backside. We do see horsemen moving through, but it's going to be a villager pull as well. Wham is throwing everything right now at this sacred site. He gets the kitchen sink out here as well. Mangonel coming up the rear. It's going to be a wall delete. He enters onto the sacred site. As long as he maintains a presence on the sacred site, it keeps on ticking. Down, down, down we go. It continues ticking towards that 1 minute mark. He's still got plenty of time, and I can't help but think right now back to those knights. It was so important that those knights bought Wham that time, because without them, this push never happens. The game is in Mister's favor. But Mister continues flooding resources, continues flooding units onto this sacred site, but the numbers here are looking very good for Wham. Let's jump back in to the game, and we can see 1 minute remaining until sacred victory, and it's not going to matter because he's able to stand on this sacred site, and as soon as he does, uncontested, it's gonna stop clicking. But more villagers get pulled. There's nothing on the sacred site. We hear the sound. He's neutralizing it, and good game gets called. Wham is victorious. What an absolutely beautiful game coming out from Wham. Well played to him, fellas. Go and check out Wham. Go and check out the Mister. I'll leave links in the description of where you can watch them live. They might even be streaming live right now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. What an absolutely gorgeous game.